Hi everybody, this is a tutorial on how to make the Western Gypsy bag. It's by Golden Needle Designs. What you'll need to make this bag is a piece of fabric for the purse, 21 inches by 23 inches, a contrasting piece of fabric for the fringe and handle, 10 inches by 42 inches, and this should be out of non-fraying fabric, something like ultra suede. And then the carved heart embroidery designs embroidered on felt or ultra suede. And these are from Golden Needle Designs. And you'll need a polymer clay arrowhead and needle. We'll show you how to make those later, and some small wooden beads about 1/2 inch across. You'll need some feathers. It only shows 2 here, but you'll need about 4 or 5. You'll need 2 yards of twine, a hot glue gun, and glue sticks. Now you take your fabric and fold it in half lengthwise and pin down the sides. Then sew down the side using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Now you'll want to cut out the pattern piece for the fringe from non-fraying fabric. And slide it inside the purse piece, and then sew down the end, again using a 1/2 inch seam allowance. After that, sew the other end, but you'll want to leave about a 3 to 4 inch opening at the end so you can turn the purse right side out. Turn the purse right side out now. After you've turned it right side out, make sure the corners are pulled out. Fold the edges of the opening in by a 1/2 inch, and then sew them closed using a whip stitch. Now we're going to turn one end to the inside. This video shows that the fringe is already cut, and the truth is I had to replace the fringe because I didn't use non-fraying fabric at first. And make sure the corners are poked down in really good, and that the top edge is straight. Now we'll sew around the top about 5/8 of an inch away from the edge, just to hold the layers straight. Now just make sure that we don't sew the opening closed. Now we've embroidered the designs on felt and cut them out. Now we're going to attach them to the purse. I'm going to use tacky glue, just a small amount to hold it in place while I sew it. Now we sew around the edge of the design using a whip stitch. When you sew the heart on, leave an opening at the top to make a little pocket, and cut the slits before you sew it on. And to make the handle, you cut a piece of non-fraying fabric, 3 inches by 24 inches. Fold one side over 1 inch, and then fold the other side over 1 inch, and sew down both sides about 1/4 of an inch from the edge, and this will make the handle. And then cut the slits to make the fringe. I cut them just a little over 1/8 of an inch wide. They don't have to be perfect. To make the polymer clay arrowhead, you flatten a piece of clay and you kind of make it into a triangle. And then I just take the little knife that came with the polymer clay set and I make 2 indents along the sides towards the top. And then I kind of form the corners just a little bit more, give them a little bit more of a square edge. And then I'm going to pinch the sides to make them just a little bit sharper, like a real arrowhead would be. And then I'm going to take a skewer and just poke a hole in the center at the top. This will be for the twine to go through. And there we've made an arrowhead. Now we're going to make the wooden needle. I've mixed some brown and black together. I'm just going to roll it out, and one end will be fairly sharp. And then I'm going to make the other end a little more blunt. And I'll use the skewer again to poke a hole for the twine to go through. Then bake the pieces at 275 degrees for 15 minutes. You want to put them on a pan. Then spray them with an acrylic clear coat and let them dry for about 20 minutes. The elements at the side of the purse include twine with feathers glued on them and beads. And so I just use a hot glue gun and I glue the feathers to the end of the twine. The twine should be about 6 inches long. And I add a small dollop of glue to hold the bead in place. This one I used a little bit too much glue. Then I attach the arrowhead and the needle to the twine. I just poke the twine through and go up about maybe 3 inches. And I glue the two pieces, well, the one piece together with just a little bit of hot glue. And then I wrap the twine back down around the other twine. And I wrap it about 4 or 5 times, and then I glue the end of it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with the needle at the other end of the twine. The piece of twine I used for this is about 24 inches long. Now I'm going to take a piece of twine that's about 4 or 5 inches long, and I'm going to glue it to the arrowhead around the indents. I'm going to glue the end and wrap it around about 4 or 5 times, and then I'll glue the end of it. Now I've used a hot glue gun, and I've glued the needle and the arrowhead to the top back of the purse, right there in the middle. And I've glued on all my elements. I've glued on a piece of fabric to hold the handle on, and this piece is about 5 inches long, and I've glued both ends of it, and then I wrapped the handle through, and I glued the handle, and then I glued twine around the handle, and I added twine with the feathers and the beads, and I've glued them to the inside edge right beside the handle. Thanks for watching our video. I hope you enjoyed it.